Good evening, I'm Nancy Cox.
I'm Kevin Christopher. Thanks for joining us at 6.
Police are still putting together the pieces of a crime spree that spread across 3 counties and ended in a deadly crash.
Kentucky State Police say the suspect, 33-year-old Lucas Vanderpool, first got on their radar after he shot a 55-year-old Moorhead man. Conroy DeLuche picks up the story from there in the big story at 6.
As troopers search for the shooter, Lucas Vanderpool, they say he committed 3 armed robberies. First at this gas station in Rowan County, then a Shell station just off the interstate in Montgomery County. Then he continued west toward Winchester.
We had officers that were actually on the interstate looking for him when we got the call of this robbery at Scotty's. Formerly known as Scotty's Market, the Marathon Food Mart sits on North Maple Street.
He pulled the car outside, came in, he looked around, nobody there, then he pulled the gun out, asked for the money. And the employee he was working here, he didn't resist or anything. He just gave him all the money. While he grabbed the money, after that he shot at him.
Police alerted dispatch in Bourbon County that Lucas Vanderpool was heading toward Paris. But just after 8:20, KSP says Vanderpool crashed into a tree on Thatcher's Mill Road and was pronounced dead at the scene.
Such a waste of life. A little money is now worth life.
Toxicology results are pending, but police do consider speed a factor in the crash. Covering the news, Conroy DeLuche, LEX 18 News.
The man who police say was shot last night, Coy Adkins, was airlifted to UK hospital, but he was treated and released.
Georgetown police say 7 teenagers are facing a number of charges tied to several home invasions this summer. Now, some could face federal charges as well. Connor McHugh joins us now with the latest.
Police say many of these teenagers were armed with stolen guns when they broke into at least 3 homes this summer. Each home invasion happened late at night, and police say it's a miracle no one was hurt. Today, officers arrested 3 of the teens at Scott County High School. They also picked up a 13-year-old at Royal Spring Middle. The group, which includes Kenneth Edwards, faces a variety of charges, including robbery, drug trafficking, receiving stolen guns, and criminal syndicate. Officers previously arrested 3 others, including Calvin Winston, for a combination of similar charges.
The citizens of Georgetown have made it perfectly clear that we are not going to tolerate this type of violence in our community. And there is a significant level of violence to these crimes.
Georgetown police say their investigation is not over. Officers are also working with the ATF, and they anticipate federal charges will be filed. Kevin, back to you.
Just kids, man. Thanks, Connor. The man accused of planning a mass shooting in Washington County pleaded not guilty in court today. Matthew Smith entered his not guilty plea to several charges, including attempted murder of a police officer. Smith was arrested last Tuesday outside LB Manufacturing after an employee there noticed him hanging around outside. Police say when they arrived, he had a car full of handguns, rifles, and ammunition, and expressed a desire to commit a mass shooting. They also accused Smith of pointing a gun at an officer before he was taken into custody.
I would simply state that we realize he's facing some very serious charges, but I would just reiterate what the law states, and that is that he's presumed innocent. And we'll just wait and see how the evidence unfolds.
Smith will return to court next Monday, December 3rd, for a preliminary hearing. Hagan added that many of Smith's weapons were obtained legally.
A man facing rape and kidnapping charges in Lexington was back in court this morning. Harrowing testimony by a Lexington police officer details how the suspect attacked the victim, going as far as attempting to strangle her with a pair of pants. LEX 18's Tiffany Jackson has the story.
Franklin Faulkner spoke not a word today. The court heard mostly from a Lexington police officer about the day Faulkner was arrested. On the 18th, a woman's car broke down and Faulkner allegedly offered her a ride. But instead of helping, investigators say he drove her to a wooded area and raped her.
She said she tried to call for help, but when she grabbed her phone, the suspect grabbed it and broke it and wouldn't allow her to call for help.
The officer says they found the evidence near Paris Pike and Old Paris Road.
There was tire tracks down in that grassy area.
After the rape, the officer says Faulkner drove the victim to a speedway where she again tried to get out of the car. Faulkner allegedly wouldn't let her, driving toward Masterson Station. That's where Faulkner had car trouble and an off-duty animal control officer pulled over to help.
He advised that she got out of the car, she was very frantic, asked for help.
This was the scene near the intersection of Leestown Road and Citation Boulevard that day.
When the animal control guy tried to leave, the suspect jumped on top of his car and wouldn't let them leave, and that's when I
and Faulkner was then arrested. Covering the news in Lexington, Tiffany Jackson, LEX 18 News.
We have had a day that would do mid-January proud with the clouds, the wind, the cold temperatures, spitting a little snow and drizzle once in a while. Now, during the day, temperatures were above freezing, and so none of it hung around. We're getting temperatures now flirting with freezing and a little bit below, so that little bit of light snow up in northern Kentucky dropping down into Harrison, Robertson, Mason County. You might get a quick dusting in a couple of places out of that, but that should be about it. And otherwise, no impacts. We'll see future track from 7 o'clock. Again, a smattering of flurries and snow showers will be around as we go through this evening. Clouds will hold tough. The wind will be around. It'll be a cold night. We continue then till the hours around dawn, mainly cloudy. Again, a renegade flurry, not out of the question tomorrow. Most of us will end up staying dry. By lunchtime and beyond, the clouds may even start to thin, and a hint of some sun can't be ruled out. It is cold. Your temperatures now in even freezing in Lexington, Mount Sterling, Flemingsburg, Richmond, Danville, and pretty much everybody else. If you're not at freezing, you're a degree or either side. And the wind chills are cold too. It's going to last a couple of days, but there is some relief. We'll talk about that in a couple minutes.
Thank you, Bill.
A powerful snowstorm that hit the Midwest over the weekend is also causing some headaches for travelers at Bluegrass Airport.
Some flights to and from Chicago's O'Hare Airport were canceled today, stranding people in Lexington for another night. LEX 18's Alexa Helwig has details.
We are traveling back to Texas. We were home visiting family. We're from here, but we live in Texas now.
Blizzard conditions hit Chicago over the weekend, a major city for connecting flights. That was supposed to be the next stop for Katie Jones before her final destination back home in Texas.
I have no idea. I don't know what we're going to do.
You can see these canceled flight statuses this morning, all of them either incoming or departing flights from Chicago's O'Hare Airport. Today was frustrating for Jones because her job is demanding. She trains horses, and it's affecting those who work for her.
It's pretty rare that we're away from the farm, so right now, yeah, we're kind of affecting a lot of people by not getting back.
Yes. Jones hopes to catch a flight back home in the morning. Covering the news in Lexington, Alexa Helwig, LEX 18 News.
A well-known advocate for survivors and victims of domestic violence in Kentucky has passed away. Diana Ross, whose daughter Amanda was murdered by Amanda's ex-fiancé, former state rep Steve Nunn, lost her battle to acute leukemia over the weekend. LEX 18's Claire Crouch has more about Ross's life and legacy.
She did a marvelous job.
To Dale Emmons, Diana Ross was his lifelong friend from Fleming County.
She was a warm and charming lady.
It's not just my daughter Amanda's story.
But for countless others, she became a beacon of hope.
She was not equipped to do that. She had never done anything in the public spotlight before, and she was reluctant at first.
It was 2009 when her life changed forever. Her daughter Amanda, shot and killed by her ex-fiancé and former state representative Steve Nunn in Lexington. Ross turned her pain into a crusade to ensure other families wouldn't suffer a similar tragedy, resulting in Amanda's Law, which allows judges to order those who violate a domestic violence order wear a GPS tracking device to make sure the suspect stays the appropriate distance away.
Diana somehow mustered the courage and the grace to step forward and say, we're going to make Amanda's life mean something.
Diana's end came quick. Just 2 months ago, she returned home from a trip to South America, only to be diagnosed with acute leukemia. Dale says he finds peace in knowing she did not suffer and that she's with her daughter once again.
She certainly is with loved ones, her parents and her sister and her husband and daughter. Yeah, there's no question about that.
Covering the news in Lexington, Claire Crouch, LEX 18 News.
Funeral arrangements are being finalized. However, in lieu of flowers, the Ross family asks memorial gifts be made to Greenhouse 17. That's an organization that provides shelter for domestic abuse survivors.
Still ahead, a woman's purse goes missing from her office desk.
But who is the thief? Lexington police hope you know the answer coming up next in our LEX 18 Crime Stoppers report.